Hey, this is Chris from DSX Machina, and I am here with.
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
And we're gonna play Consent to Kill. No, we were talking about the top 5 games we will never play again. Now, funny thing enough, this is not necessary. These games for me are bad, except for one. So these are games that, for a variety of reasons. Now, I'm willing to admit that if I really, really had a longer time playing, this list could have been a list of games where like, well, I'm never going to play this game again because I'm playing the new edition. It's like, let's like what you said with,
Arkham Horror.
Arkham Horror, right? Saying I'll never play this game again. I'm just going to go back to the second edition. But I don't own a lot of revised games. I bought this game like, well, I'm never going to play this game again. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. You might have it, so your list might be different than mine. Well, probably will be.
No.
But mine is by a majority games that I don't particularly care for. There's one that's got a condition, but beyond that, almost every one of these are just not very good.
All right, cool.
No, not even a justification.
No, I'll give my justification.
Smashing. My number 5 pick is the only game on this list that's actually not bad. It's actually a good game. It's Dinosaur Island.
Okay.
And I think we kind of implied this game in one of our other lists. So, I think Dinosaur Island is one of my all-time favorite games.
Yep.
It is a fantastic game. And my fiance and I love getting that, and we will play a long game every single time. Like, we will get in the grid so we can, because she loves having all her dinosaur meeples and building her little thing. And the one thing she hates, like, any game where the ending is active, where somebody has to kind of activate the ending by doing something, she hates, because she's like, don't you dare end this game early. And I literally, sometimes I have to extend the game just to give her a better chance at winning, because she wants to keep playing it. And there's actually a variety of games that we've had. Like, well, a good example, which we always play, is Above and Below. No, it's Near and Far. Because Near and Far, the game ends once somebody has put down their last tent. So, very often, I'm always the guy who puts the last tent and prompt that end game. And she was like, don't you dare. Like, I don't want to know. Just do something else. Don't you dare. I got 3 more. I want to get to the story point. Dinosaur Island is kind of in that same boat where Dinosaur Island's in that same boat where I could bring the ending a bit faster by claiming more of the victory cards. And she wants me to keep on playing. She loves, despite the footprint being massive, despite it taking half an hour to set up, she loves that game. Dinosaur Island is a good game. It has the similar mechanics. It has some things that are unique. And someone's like, well, what would you rather play? I'm like, we're going to play Dinosaur Island. Like, we will, any single time that hey, honey, you want to play Dinosaur Island? She's like, no, let's just play Dinosaur Island. We'll play Dinosaur Island probably half a dozen times this year, still. We will never play Dinosaur Island because every single time we want to play, because we got all of it. If we got Dinosaur Island, I never would have bought Dinosaur, but it was part of the whole Kickstarter thing, the Extreme Edition, to the extreme. But it's just it's a good game. It just doesn't need to exist. Should it be a game that should never have been made? But I can see. But the reason why I didn't put it on that list was because I can see why they can make it. If someone was like, no, I only like buying small portable 2-player games. Me and my fancy are always on the move. Great, buy Dinosaur Island.
Yep.
But for us, Dinosaur Island, the problem with Dinosaur Island is that it's too big for most portable games. Like, we will toss a tiny Epic or something else. Dinosaur Island is actually too big to be portable. So it kind of screws that up.
Yeah.
So that's my number 5 pick, Dinosaur Island.
Okay, my number 5 pick is a game that is based off of another game. But where it lacks is that I've played this game 3 times. And each time we lose within 2 to 3 rounds.
Oh!
And we can't figure out why. Oh, it's not up there.
Oh, is it on the trash list as well?
And we can't figure out why, because it's a good company. It's a good designer. We've played it 3 times. We know we're playing it right. At least we're pretty sure we're playing it right. But it isn't any good, and that is Defenders of the Last Stand.
Yeah,
And
because you keep on telling me that no matter how many times you played it, you're like, are we missing something?
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because I like Defenders of the
Almost
Last.
picked that one too because the
Defenders
box
of
is
the Last
beautiful.
Realm.
The box.
Oh
is,
yeah, box is
I
beautiful.
remember that's the one. I'm trying to remember.
By 8th Summit.
No, but I'm trying to remember if that's the one. Keep talking. I want to take a look because I'm trying to remember now.
It's a beige box, yeah, with a radiation symbol on it. Because it's basically Mad Max.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that intrigued me about it, because I kind of like Mad Max. And again, it's just one of those games where I'm just like, I don't know what we're doing wrong, but this game is not enjoyable. I won't even give it another chance to prove that it is enjoyable. I think 3 is kind of my limit. After 3, it's something wrong with that game. So
yeah, you gave it the Admiral. You gave it a chance.
Mm.
I'll write off games I've played once.
Oh yeah,
like, that's it. Never playing this game again.
Yeah, no, I will do it too. I gave it a chance that many times because it is such a big game. Like it's a coffin-sized box, and I'm like, man, I must be missing something But by the same token, I think if you look it up on BGG and you look, it has a low score, and I think that's because it's broken.
I'm gonna have to look up. I believe you. I want to look it up and I want to see the reviews and go like, are people were just like, you guys are idiots. Why didn't you fix this? This is like a broke. I wonder if there are homebrew solutions. You're like there are games I played where it's like, you almost had it. You one roll and you would have been good, and then nobody buys it. And it was like, well, if he had done this, it would have been good. Like, why didn't he see the writing on the wall? Yeah. So that's your
number 5.
Number 5. My number 4 is a new one to a list, and I think it's appropriate to have it here rather than other games, and that's a game called Runebound.
I'm only laughing because you're tirade the other night.
So let's talk about Runebound for a little bit. Runebound is a board role-playing game. It gives you a lot of the same ideas that you would in a game. Some people have talked about similar to Talisman and a few others, but you get to free reign to travel your fantasy character across this fantasy landscape. Almost not too dissimilar. What's that Greenberg game that we enjoyed so much?
Folklore.
It's almost like Folklore, but so you're moving across maps. You're having story-based encounters where you get to make decisions. Sometimes you pick up a mission and have to go somewhere else to do it. Mm-hmm. It all seems to be really, really good in that capacity. Its combat, I'm sure they thought it was novel, and there's a lot of people who love it. I think it's one of the worst combat systems I've ever seen. You get double-sided cardboard tokens, and then you'll get 4 or 5 of them, and then you'll just drop them on the table, and then where they fall is what you get to see which facing comes up. And a few of them allow you to flip. Which ones are gold tells you if you go first, and it also determines your initiative. They're always going to scatter to the winds because they're cardboard tokens, and it's hard. You can't just shuffle them. You can't do this and do that because then you don't fall correctly. You're but some people they drop it and makes a. It's just I don't want to do that in a board game. Not beyond that, but despite the fact there's only a plus and minus, it still feels incredibly random because you will start the game with 4 decent tokens. Now, by the end of the game, I have swapped one out for one that was marginally better, and I added another one which gave me a shield. Right? I had 2 extra skills, which means I was maybe 20% better than when I started. It was 4 hours later. And that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part is that it's competitive. So the different party players who do not interact with each other, they never have to interact. There's never a mission that says hunt down or steal this from another character. So you never interact. So the downtime is insane. Right? Everybody who likes it says, "Oh, it's a good game," but boy, is this game long. Even the people who hate it are just like, boy, this game is like 4 to 5 hours. This game is way too long for what it is. Like they think about Twilight Imperium and see how big and how much stuff. This game is incredibly simple for what it is, and yet it takes 4 hours because it takes you. There was one mission. This is the best part. In order to beat this one mission, you had to acquire lore tokens. So I found a place that had like three lower tokens. Every time you do a mission, it takes 2 actions, which means you can't do anything else. You only get 3 actions, so you waste your last action. So you go there and you spend 2 actions, pick up a token. All right, my fiance has her turn, takes 10 minutes, comes back to me. All right, well, I guess I'm taking another token. Your turn. 3 times I had to do this. And the best part of the whole thing is that the entire game is entirely based on you killing the dragon. And this mission was killing the dragon. And the dragon starts moving at about the 3-hour mark. No, 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And if the dragon moves so slowly in our mission that we probably could have played another hour because the dragon barely moved. Which means we could have run for 5 hours. It was already 1:30 in the morning, and I just fought the dragon because I'm like, oh god, I got to get this game done. Because this game is boring. It's so boring. And so I fought the dragon. Now, it should be noted that I was so much more better equipped to kill the dragon than my fiance. I had an extra token. She wasn't that much more powerful. I was a warrior, which means I got to attack twice for every time the dragon attacked. And he killed me in 2 turns because of the randomness of the drop tokens. And then my fiance beat him in 3 turns. To give you an idea, those tokens reduce his hit points. So I only needed to do 8 hit points to kill him. I could not do it, despite the fact that I was a warrior that got to attack twice. And she needed to do 12 hit points, and she did it in 3 rounds. And I was just like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I already had written off this game when I was not doing anything for half an hour and just picking up tokens, which I might add, didn't really affect me. You spend half the game... Like, you go, oh, I've got to do this to do this mission. And what do you do for that mission? You pick up a trophy. What does that trophy do? It allows you to buy a skill. What does that skill do? It might not affect the end game at all. Like, so I would say 70 to... I'll give you an idea. The most effective thing I did to help that dragon... Remember that 5th token I got? Which was probably the most important thing I got? I purchased an item for 2 gold. I could then move 2 squares to another area and sell it for 5. I then went back and bought another item for 0 and took it back there to sell it for 3. I then went back to the main market and then bought some magic armor for 9 gold. That was in the last 10 minutes of the game. And that was the single most important thing I ever did.
Yikes.
I could have just done that for 2 hours and gotten, the armor, the weapon, the shoes, and all the things I needed to get all the tokens I wanted. But instead, I wasted my time doing the story and missions. And the reason why I will never play this game again is that Nicole wants to. She wants to play this game again. But we both fully admit that we will never play this game competitive. But being complete morons like they did, despite what everybody does nowadays, there is no cooperative version of this game in that box. You would think that would be an obvious inclusion. No, you have to buy the $50 expansion Unbreakable Bonds, which turns that game into a cooperative mode. So you think, well, Chris, you are going to buy that game again because Unbreakable Bonds you can pick that up. Except, despite the fact that Runebound you can get pretty easily, Unbreakable Bonds is so out of print. The only place I found it was $235 on eBay. Every single supplier has been sold out of Unbreakable Bonds for as long as I've seen it.
Isn't it a Fantasy Flight game?
It's Fantasy Flight. And literally, I have checked, and the only time I've seen it for sale has been, I think, $135 US for it. Yeah, because they know it's out of print, and so which means until they reprint Unbreakable Bonds, Runebound will never see the light of day in my household again. So that's my number 4 pick, Runebound.
All right, my number 4 pick won't have a huge story behind it, other than it's just. It's IP spam. They took the IP, they slapped it on a game, they said, yep, done. Firefly Clue. I gave that game away.
Why did you get Clue?
Because it was Firefly.
Dude, there's a Mass Effect Clue, isn't it? No, there's a Mass Effect Risk.
Yeah.
All the IP spams I can't stand.
Yeah. So that's it. That was really quick. Firefly Clue, never going to play it again. Mostly because it doesn't exist in my house anymore.
See, for me, and this is relating to my 3 pick is very closely related to yours, you'll find out, is that, for me, I'll never play any reskinned classic game of my youth ever again, including my number 3 pick, Monopoly. Because that's the situation. But Monopoly here, my entire top 5 could be every game I ever played as a youth.
Oh yeah.
From Snakes and Ladders to Clue to
yeah.
basic core Risk, right? LCR. I mean, the games we grew up as a child are all in the bottom 100 of Board Game Geek for a very good reason, because this is the old game style of game. So this Monopoly is just a place marker. It's the fact that I will never, ever put myself in a situation where I'm with a group of people that want to play one of these games.
So let's jump right in there. My number 3 is Monopoly.
That's why you were laughing.
Yep.
But this is the only one, because if I let that possess me, pull economy, Clue, Risk, almost everything that you would see on a shelf at a non-game at a non-game store. No, Target, I've heard, has been getting some decent games. Yeah. Same thing with Walmart. You go to Walmart's game store, you're like, what the hell? You going? This is a bizarre thing. But no, if you go to a calendar, go like the store I used to run, a Go Calendars and Toys, or Calendar Club, depending on where you are in the world. It has a whole game wall of just all of the reskinned. And the same thing with.
But here's the reason with.
I would say. What's that stupid game with the frickin'? It's not a game. That's all. But everyone's holding the little thing. Ouija board.
Yeah.
There's actually a reskinned version of a Ouija board, but I've never played a Ouija board before Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. I've actually never played Ouija, so I've never had that. I have played Clue. I have played even Axis and Allies. I'll never play it. Yeah. And that would be considered the better game from that time period. I will never play any game that was made before, I'd say, 1991.
I'll play my Monopoly Doctor Who version only for the simple fact that it's Doctor Who. That's the only reason.
I own 2 Monopolies. I own Star Wars Monopoly, and I own Mario Brothers or Nintendo Monopoly.
I own Star Wars Monopoly, and I own Doctor Who Monopoly.
I think everybody owns Star Wars Monopoly.
But mine's the Star Wars Monopoly that only has 4 players and the circular board.
That's actually cool.
It's completely it's not Monopoly at all.
But it is, isn't it?
No, it's not. It really isn't. It's not Monopoly. It's actually like an area control game disguised as Monopoly, because you have 2 players that work together as the dark side and 2 players that work together as the light side.
Yeah, I still will never play another Monopoly game again.
Yeah,
or a Clue, or a Risk.
What's your number 2?
My 2 is the place marker for all the really crappy games. Like, number 2 is the worst game I've ever played, and that's Dread Draw.
Oh, yeah.
Dread Draw is the most... Like, Dread Draw is an example of just a good art designer and then somebody who doesn't know how to make a game. And this is done by the same company that published Legendary. Mm-hmm. And what's really fascinating is that I got given that game from Dice Tower. And I assume I was like, oh, you gotta love this one. Give this guy this absolute crap game. Nicole and I played it, and we're like, it is literally a dead cut draw. Whoever pulls the highest wins, and they turned that into a game. They added some extra mechanics that wasn't enough to overt the unbelievable level of randomness of just dead cutting a card. Yeah. Because you can't even dead cut it. You just got to draw the top card, and you keep on drawing it until everyone gets eliminated. You can't just stand pat and hopefully someone else will succeed. Everybody has to draw until you get kicked out. So there isn't even a strategy of holding pat. And it's got a big box with 99 cards, and there's only another 8 or 9 inches of box left, because I assume there are expansions, which will never happen. And what's really fascinating is that Dice Tower, Tom, ended up reviewing another game done by the same people that he said was the worst game he ever played. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're saving that one for yourself. But yeah, that's my place marker for just really, really bad games. Number 2 is Dread Draw.
My number 2 is a game...
come on, you knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah. Is a game that got a lot of hype about 3 years ago, back during sort of what I call sort of the Renaissance. That was the Matt Leacock pandemic explosion, and when tabletop was really big with Will Wheaton. That's when this game was out, and everybody's like, it's a really good game and it's hard. Ghost Stories.
Really?
Yes.
You know what the funny thing is? I know that game is hard. I want to try it just to see how hard it really is. Because I will let
you do that.
That's the game where so many people have said, this game's amazing, it's so hard. And I'm like, but that's the... I have a real problem with Ghost Stories. I felt that was the game that made it cool to be impossible.
Yes.
Made it cool to make it so freaking hard and you'll never be able to win it. It made it like a stamp of quality. I'm like, no, that was a pattern of destructive behavior, which is still infecting. It's a cancer that's permeating this industry.
Yep. So that's Ghost Stories, my number 2.
I forgot you owned it too.
Yeah.
I actually mentioned it.
I'll let you borrow it.
I mentioned it to you before. So yeah, number 1.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
What the fuck was that?
It's
the claw.
1, 2, 3.
Smash. Oh.
1, 2, 3.
Fire Beast Keeper. Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Wrapping paper. It's effing fire. Well, my number 1 is Mission Red Planet. Act surprised.
No.
Come on, act surprised.
No.
I have gotten angry at games.
Uh-huh.
I will admit, sometimes I've gotten angry at the way a game is, especially a cooperative game that's got a lot of randomness to make the game more difficult. And I'm like, I really dislike this. And my fiance is just like, I know. It's like, okay. And I've gotten upset. Like I said, with Runebound, I was just like, I'm gonna be easy. I'm not gonna make. I told her at the end I really didn't like it, and she was just like, why do we play it? Because I'm not going to not finish it because you may enjoy it, and I don't want to take that away from you. And yeah, there are lots of situations where I will play games. Like, she knows that I'm not a huge fan of Lanterns, but she wins at Lanterns, so she enjoys Lanterns. So I will always play Lanterns with her, and I will always try to make myself enjoy it because it's a game that she really likes. I'm not a fan of a lot of the games she likes, but I want to play it with her because we're engaged, for God's sakes. Except for Mission Red Planet. I will. If someone says, hey, let's play Mission Red Planet, I'm like, you guys can play it. I will not.
Mm-hmm.
And not only will I not play it, but it comes to a point that if the group forces Mission Red Planet onto the game table, not only will I not play it, I will probably just leave. Because I just don't want to be part of that group that enjoys that. Because it fosters... Like, one of my friends said he absolutely loved Mission Red Planet. He absolutely loved Mission Red Planet. He gave us reasons why he loved it. I have literally not invited that person to play my games. Because he's quite literally the type of person that takes joy and pleasure from making people miserable. And I'm like, you've literally told me everything I needed to hear for whether or not I want to have you in my group.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I have another friend who is a rules guy. Who's like, you shouldn't be able to do that. I'm like, okay, if you're going to act that way, you can leave. We don't play that way here. Right? Mission Red Planet is exactly everything I dislike about games like that. And the reason why I rant about it so much is that it's so freaking popular. Mm-hmm. Where I literally had a guy say, he's like, no, don't buy that game. Buy this game. One guy actually told me that he was like, this is the better game of between Terraforming Mars and Mission Red Planet, you get Mission Red Planet. And I'm like, are you on the sauce? First of all, they are not related in any way. They're both set on Mars, but it's like... It's like comparing Star Wars Armada to, I was going to say, Star Trek 5-Year Mission. Oh, they're both set in space. They're not the same game.
No.
Mission Red Planet.
It would actually be like comparing Star Wars Armada to
X-Wing. I will find some way to get Mission Red Planet out of my collection. Mm-hmm. My fiance gets upset with me, the fact I tell her that we have to cull eventually. Because, honey, it's like, we got to cull. There's going to be games that we dislike, we don't want to play anymore. She's like, no. But because she knows the moment she admits to have culling, yeah, we'll cull a lot of games that both of us will never play again, right? Like Dread Draw, like Alchemistry. But she knows I'm going to put Mission Red Planet on that list, and she doesn't want to. She will play that game by herself, which is weird because it has so much of a take-that mechanic. And I don't know why she likes it, but I don't know.
So I should just, like, one of the Saturdays be like, we're going to play Mission Red Planet, and she'll come by herself.
She probably would. So that's my number 1 pick, Mission Red Planet. Bring the hate.
All right. My number 1 pick, I've talked about many times before. This will be the last time I ever bring up this game.
And yet, once again, Mission Red Planet, not the worst game ever. Dread Draw is worse than Mission Red Planet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't generate as much rage.
So, this game is a bad game.
Really?
It is a horribly bad game, much like my grammar there.
And yes, Hangman.
Nope. It should never have been made, which actually should have ended up in that list, but I gave it a reprieve, a stay of execution. This is its execution.
It's called Master of the Galaxy. No.
The game, the rulebook is bad. The game is pointless in the sense that there are parts of the rules that reference the same thing that are different things. It's made by Eagle Griffin Games.
Okay. Oh.
Was given a stellar review by Man vs. Meeple.
Oh, Man vs. Meeple. Have they ever... I've never seen them give a negative review for a game. Actually, that's not true. Do you know what they surprisingly gave a so shockingly negative review for?
Which one? Which one?
Outer Rim.
The new Star Wars one?
Yeah, I was shocked. They gave a surprisingly negative review for Outer Rim. I was just like, huh. Because basically their opinion, and I'll quick off topic here, their basic opinion is it does everything that the Firefly game does, except worse.
Huh.
They say it's like, if you like Firefly, if you want to be in space and you want to play Star Wars, you'll still play Firefly because it's still a better game. But they say it's basically the same thing, except the Outer Rim is a bit more random, so you don't feel as if it's like it's just that's ultimately they say it's like if these games don't need to exist because Firefly is a far superior game. Just buy Firefly. If you want to play Star Wars, just assume they're all X-Wings because they're a better game anyway. But that was their review. Their review was the fact that it was inferior to Firefly, vastly inferior to Firefly. So go on, you're saying.
So the game is Titan Dice.
Oh God, Titan Dice again.
Like I said, this was its execution. It had a state of execution. It's now being executed. This game will never get brought up again.
Where is it?
I will add it to the list of games so you can try and see just how horrible it is.
Because when the last time you brought it up, it was actually on our official January list, so I wrote an article on it. So I had to do research on this, and I was looking at it going, and I saw the playthrough, and I was like, okay. And the game, I was expecting some grandiose epic failure, but it's just like, there's not a lot of game for him to be angry at.
That's the point. There is no game.
Yeah, but we've praised, like, we like Roll for It, and that game is like this very little game there, but we enjoy it because it's quick and fast and enjoyable. And
no, but there's a point to Roll for It. It makes sense. It's enjoyable. Titan Dice is not enjoyable, and you will see why. So that's...
If my fiance likes Titan Dice,
you can keep it.
Well, no, just those situations where I'm like, she's like, all right, your wife's not welcome here anymore.
All right.
You know what's really interesting? We did not bring up Who Goes There.
I think we've executed it enough.
No, I almost put it on the list because the big difference between me and these ones. If I can homebrew it so I can make it fun,
yep,
it will not go on the list. If I can fix the game or someone else has fixed the game, it gets a stay of execution. Dinosaur Island won't get on the list because it just doesn't need to exist because there's a much better version. Runebound could be better if there was a cooperative. We might homebrew it ourselves, but right now we're waiting. Monopoly is just... It's an icon that has to fall. Dread Draw is just a bad game. Mystery Planet, by its core element, its core function, cannot be redeemed.
Yeah.
But Who Goes There? Oh, yeah. Like, very easy game balancing tweaks to that to make it fun. And that's kind of the challenge when I'm looking like, I'm going to take this home, Master of the Galaxy, and I'm like, I wonder. But the same thing with Gloomhaven. I mean, we made Gloomhaven Nemesis, which, and I personally, not publicly, personally more enjoyable for ourselves. We don't release those publicly kind of thing, but I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. We want to make it to our... It's like our slogan, which is...
The rules are just suggestion. Play the game how you want to play it.
Exactly. And in some situations, we can alter the game to make them more enjoyable. But these 5 are games that, for reasons, won't.
Yeah.
We should make a top 5 list. Top 5. We did a top 5 homebrew.
Yeah.
We can do a top 5 games that can't be saved.
Yep. I think we're good.
But unfortunately, you just put Master of the Galaxy.
I already executed Master of the Galaxy.
So anyway, but my list is once again Dinosaur Island, Runebound, Monopoly, Dread Draw, Mission Red Planet.
And mine is Defenders of the Last Stand, Firefly Clue,
Monopoly. I went through mine quickly. You don't have to, but
Ghost Stories, and Titan Dice. So once again, I've been Dave.
And I have been Chris.
And you already heard the slogan, so we're out of here.
Wait, whoa.